Welcome back to Comic Book Straight Talk. This is Captain Dalian.
This is Eric the Knucklehead Eaton.
Carrie the French Tickler French.
All right, this week's episode, we're going to do what we believe comic companies are doing right and wrong, including Marvel Comics, DC, we'll touch over some Image, and various other companies. We'll kick it right off. Tickler, usually we start with you, but this is not the Tickler show, so we'll start with Captain Dalian.
Well, let's discuss Marvel.
Okay, Marvel.
Let's discuss Marvel.
Marvel, ever since Secret
suck.
Wars, okay. Well, Tickler, let's expand what you. How that?
Okay, let's expand.
Let's expand. They suck.
They really suck. How about that?
Okay, well, expand. They suck.
Go ahead. I was just joking. Go ahead.
No, I was giving you a chance to expand it.
No, go ahead. You started it. You're kicking it off.
And unfortunately, I do agree with the Tickler. They are sucking right now.
What's?
Do you think the writing or what?
I think it's just the writing, the art on a lot of stuff isn't good. It's not.
We're talking about the comics. We're not really talking about
just
the
comics.
movies.
Just comics.
Yeah, movies are awesome.
The movies are hitting everything out of the park. No problem.
Comic-wise, writing's bad.
The writing's not that great. Art's been really bad. They've made some bad choices on trying to bring stuff back out that people.
What stuff?
It seems like they're trying to throw a lot at you.
They're trying to throw everything at you to kind of see what you like, and it's just not sticking. What they're really good at right now is just like I was telling them is that they're second tier characters like Black Widow, Doctor Strange,
Silver Surfer,
Slapstick.
Not yet.
Slapstick, not yet. No, not yet. Those characters have been really great. Good writing, good art.
Yeah, I've enjoyed those.
But like their Captain Americas, their Iron Man, their.
Well, we talked about this in other shows. I like the new Civil War too.
So, going there, but okay.
It is. It's rehashing Civil War 1. I understand that. But I've enjoyed the story.
That's good. I'm glad you have.
I think that storyline is doing fine.
What do you think it is about them? Do you think Do you think they're trying to capitalize? With Disney getting more and more involved with Marvel, just because they own Marvel. Disney seems to kind of go crazy when they have a new movie come out. You get Beauty and the Beast sheets and everything. Do you think they're doing that with comics? Now you've got like 27 Avenger titles, X titles.
Well, I think the thing is they see, hey, Doctor Strange is doing good. Let's have a second Doctor Strange series so it'll do just as well. You can't do that. You can. Obviously, they're going to, but it's not going to. It's not going to capture the same.
Pretty soon we'll have Doctor Strange's Avengers, Doctor Strange's X-Men.
Well, you got Doctor Strange and the Sorceress.
Right.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, they had Marvel had a thing that they had stated that they didn't care what they did with their characters because you were still going to buy their books because you bought them for the characters. The characters sell the story, the books, not the stories and the art. I'm kind of seeing that mentality again.
Okay.
In a sense.
Now, I will say, and I haven't picked up on it in a while just because time restraints, but one Marvel series that I did like was when they redid Star Wars.
Yeah.
I liked Star Wars because Star Wars was Luke's side, and then they came out with Vader, and Vader was the exact same timeline, but Vader's side of it.
Right.
You were saying the other day, you thought the only two Marvel titles really worth picking up have been Star Wars.
Yeah. Star Wars books. And when I say Marvel titles, I don't include the Star Wars stuff in the Marvel Universe stuff.
Okay.
Because it's really not.
Well, yeah, for now they're not really mixing.
Right. So, the Star Wars has been really good. That's about the only thing. That's about the only thing that's really been saving them, I think, for a long time. Has been the Star Wars books.
The Star Wars books are pretty good.
Yeah.
I think
even some of their offshoots. The Lando series wasn't bad.
No.
The Leia series was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Chewbacca series was pretty good.
I'll tell you one of the underrated series was Kanan.
Oh, yeah.
Off of Rebels,
last one.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was pretty good.
And now they've got the Poe Dameron one going out right now, and the Han Solo series has been pretty good. Kind of a prequel story for him.
Which I think, with a lot of their mainstay characters, they're trying to throw too much at people. And for me, it seems, in the 90s, earlier 90s and late 80s, I liked the writing better then because it seemed, the characters were better developed, the stories were better. It wasn't just like a big hodgepodge and, throw everything in a blender and just hope that you come out with something.
Yeah, I was recently talking with a friend of mine, and he's collected X-Men forever, and he doesn't even know who some of the characters are now in the new X-Men titles. I mean, these new characters just keep popping up, and it's not the old X-Men. He's like, well, who is this?
Right.
I don't know who this is in the team now.
Well, Cyclops is dead.
Yeah, Cyclops is dead.
It seems, like the Avengers, you had the West Coast Avengers, and you had some various other people join the Avengers, but kind of the core Avengers have always basically stayed the same.
Even then, though, you've got Falcon as Cap.
Right.
And and I understand, I'm not against the change in the Marvel Universe. I understand it has to change, but they're trying it, kind of ramrodding it down your throat, but you have to take this,
right.
And it's just, it's turning off a lot of readers. Also, as a fan, say you're collecting X-Men, sometimes you just get into this feeling that you've got to get all the titles, and with Marvel, they spread stuff out to where you feel like you got to get all of this title and this title to get the complete story. Mm-hmm. And that's just, it's too much money, too time consuming to be able to have to read all this just to get the storyline. A lot of them you don't have to have those, but sometimes there's just little bits and pieces that are left out that when you're talking to somebody, you're like, really, that happened? Where was that at? I don't remember that, Just little bits and tidbits that you just wish you had caught up on.
That's the thing for me. I wish, and it's happened for a long time, it became more relevant as far as with Star Wars, is when they start doing separate offshoots and they say this will no longer follow canon. Mm-hmm. And comics has done that. You have Amazing Spider-Man, and then you got Spectacular Spider-Man. The whole Mary Jane and Gwen Stacy.
Right.
I wish comics would follow more. This is the story of Captain Downing. Not this is the story of Captain Downing in Universe A.
Right. And
this is Captain Downing in Universe B. And then this one is A if he would have met the Tickler, from Universe B. And you're just like, what is going on here?
And I know people get tired of the events, the whole event fatigue. One event, this Civil War is going to lead into another event, which leads into another event. And, stop the events.
Yeah.
And I've said it on the previous show. The best thing Marvel can do is look at what they've got, what's working, reboot the universe, bring back Cyclops as a hero, bring back Professor Xavier, start at ground zero and build the universe back up again.
I don't even think they have to stop the events, but they have to stop the feeling that it just consecutively runs into another event.
Right.
Have one event a year, mm-hmm. and maybe even skip a few months in between the next event.
Well, back reading the 80s Avengers, Perez run of Avengers, you could read any of the books from that time, and you got more story in one issue of those than you get in 2 or 3 of a book now.
Right.
So it's just, go back to that storytelling.
Well, if you also look at the page count, is a lot less. Mm-hmm. I've noticed that it's more art and less. Back in the day, those thought bubbles were packed with words. Not as much now. There are some books that, they'll still have quite a bit of dialogue, but as a whole, not so much anymore.
For me, growing up, reading Marvel versus DC, I always felt Marvel was more kind of more mature over DC at the time period. Now I feel Marvel's more immature. And DC is more of a mature, because I like picking up DC books now. Yeah. The reads are better to me. Art's just as good, if not better. And it seems, especially with Rebirth, all the continuity, I like that. I don't like going, well, which Nightwing is this? And, what's going on here? And, this
1432.
Yeah. This is the one that he died, and this is the one that he's still alive. And that kind of stuff. That's how I feel. Marvel is failing comic-wise because it's too much.
Yeah.
I understand catering to people, and there's some people that are going to like, this Cyclops XYA because they grew up with regular Cyclops, and now, it'd be cool if he did this, and you're going to have that smaller percentage. But as a majority whole, I wish they would just kind of go back to, trim off a lot of the excess and get back to...
a lot of excess that could be trimmed.
Focus more on stories, focus more on art. You don't have to pump out as many issues, because you can go to any comic book store now and there's tons of back issues, from a month or 2 months ago, because obviously people aren't picking up those titles.
Well, also I think a part of that is there's always been competition in comic books, but I think they have more solid competition now than they've ever had.
Yeah, they got video games. They've got
Yeah, not just with that, but even within the comic book, Image Comics is putting out some solid stuff.
Let's segue over to Image then. We kind of had DC. I mean, Rebirth was basically their saving grace right now.
We did a pretty in-depth.
We did
early on in
DC, right, for the Rebirth. Yeah, they're doing everything right now. So
Image is pretty good. I like probably Walking Dead's probably number one.
right.
It's a pretty good read. It's at first I've never been a big zombie fan at all, and people would go crazy on zombie apocalypse and goofy stuff like that. But to me, it's more of a if you were in this situation, what would you kind of do? It plays more to humanity kind of standard as far as showing your true colors as a person.
Right.
It's more thought provoking that way. Not so much, just about gore and beating up zombies and killing zombies kind of deal.
Image to me has been putting out a lot of, they get a lot of people are more independent.
They don't put out your standard
stories coming out, no. And most of them are fairly short, more of a mini series so you can read that and it's done. I mean, they have a lot of long lasting series too, but
Spawn's up to 300 on
yeah,
there?
But
Invincible.
they have a lot
Which
of
is
short-lived series
that
that are really
series.
good.
Yeah.
So I enjoy just being able to
Walking
pick up and know there's only going to be 6 issues of this, and I'm done with it. Not saying that Marvel and DC don't either, but most of their titles are more long running. Sorry, go ahead.
Outside of the DC, most of my favorite books right now that I've enjoyed reading are Image.
It seems their art's really good. I like their page quality. As far as with the newer Marvel books, I enjoy reading them, but it seems like if you handle it, then suddenly it's got a couple fingernail ticks from you bending it. It seems the paper stock as far as
we should be reading the comics with your Wolverine claws out.
Oh, right. Yeah. And eat Doritos.
Yeah.
But it seems their paper stock's better.
Right.
But also, that's a reason why Image and Zenoscope and Avatar actually the top 3 as far as comeback graded highest.
You get a lot of different stories as well. Marvel and DC, it's mainly superheroes. That's what it is.
Right.
With Image, you can get a lot of the superhero stories, but you can get just a whole world of different type of science fiction and medieval.
Yeah, you got Black Science.
Black Science, Paper Girls has been really good from them.
Beauty's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of different titles with Image. Unfortunately, not a lot of comic stores carry all the titles. I mean, there's a bunch of Boom and Avatar from those publishers as well that your mainstay comic shop's not going to carry.
Yeah.
But it's going to be hard to cater to that market, to order that many copies in.
A lot of noir stories coming out.
Right.
Crime,
like you said, crime. Very, very few superheroes. Superhero-wise, I can only think of Spawn, Savage Dragon, Invincible.
Now, do you think with Marvel, to touch back on Marvel, you think it'd be cool if they went back to pre-hero Tales to Astonish type stories? If they had like a little line, or maybe like a little EC line?
I think it would be be really cool. And do a line. Why can't they do a line that reprints all that stuff?
Oh, that would be pretty neat.
They've got a lot of stuff that could be reprinted as just single issues.
Yeah,
that would be kind of interesting, really. I think.
Yeah, I mean some of those.
A lot of stuff that people can't afford.
Back in the 80s,
they
did Curse of the Weird. In the 90s, it did kind of reprint stuff.
I would like to see just some of those just be released, like they did the Walking Dead Weekly. It was pretty much just that comic book reprinted.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see a lot of Marvel titles just reprinted each week. They're
coming
out with the classic.
The Marvel Tales, was a lot of the coverage of old Spider-Man.
Yeah, true.
Most Marvel, actually 90% of the Marvel comics are $3.99. Do a reprint line at $2.
Yeah, even their True Believers. I mean, the True Believers 99 cents.
Yeah,
$3.99. That adds up really fast. $4 a pop, basically.
Yeah.
If they did a True Believers thing of a bunch of just older stories, I mean, it'd be cool to get like a True Believers Captain America 100. The first, or True Believers Avenger 4, or Avengers 1, or True Believers Hulk 181.
Yeah, you can usually get those in trades and stuff like that, but it'd be kind of cool
still we need to have
to get that as a placeholder.
Well, like you were saying, go back and reprint some of the old pre-hero stuff.
Pre-hero stuff.
Do that.
Some of those villains are cool.
Yeah.
and some of the bad guys. I mean, Groot was Tales of Astonishing 13.
Yeah.
You got Fing Fang Foom with Strange Tales. Some of the old Strange Tales are pretty cool. Tales of Suspense are pretty cool. I think those would be pretty neat if they would reprint them or just start anew and start writing to cater to that kind of market, like your EC market. That would be pretty neat.
Well, they had the Icon line, and it was supposed to be for creator owned, but now they're even dealing with, no, we get some of these rights, and they've gotten some problems with that. Even.
Right.
But back on the Image thing, it's just their books feel more quality-ish. Is that?
I think quality and it's kind of refreshing.
Higher stock, paper stock.
It's refreshing.
I think
you're not stuck with the same story regurgitated.
And most of them are $2.99 to $3.50.
Yeah. The stories usually seem much deeper. Like you can really get involved in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Not a bunch of fluff.
There are some dry issues, but it's not as many dry issues as you'll find with the Marvel book.
Really, I think one of the most, when you mention that, the book I come up with is Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's very dry.
Okay.
Well, Walking Dead, I've been a follower of Walking Dead for a long time, and then it's...
But yet you haven't read anything past 80? 80?
No, I'm way past 80. But it always has a lull before the big storm.
And I jumped on, I read the first few, and I was just like, okay. And then I jumped back on it, 124, around there, when they brought in they skipped like 2 years, and they had a 2-year jump. And I thought that really helped refresh the stories. And then they introduced Alpha and the Whisperers and all that, and brought Negan back, and so it's been really good. So
but like I said, I've been reading it for so long. There's always a lull of anywhere from 6 to 13 issues before it starts really picking back up and just going into high gear again.
Do you watch the show as well?
The show I've kind of in and out on. It's not as good as the book by a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, because that's your imagination, and you're although it's drawn for you. I mean, you're still. It's almost like you're next to the character. I mean, Terry in his head, he's running around in the fields, and he's got a sword just like Michonne, and he's got a Lucille himself.
As you're reading it, though, with any comic book, to me, I mean, you're voicing your own characters,
right?
You're kind of becoming your own characters. You don't. As you're reading a book, you don't make the voice.
Actually, when Captain Downing reads, I've heard him read. He reads in a British accent. It's one of the strangest things you'll see. But he's always like, tip, cheerio, good God.
Everything's better in their British accent.
Except your accent.
Except my accent. Yep. Another company I'm real high on is Valiant.
Oh, Valiant.
Very underrated.
They've done a 180.
Good stuff.
Back in the 90s,
Ugh.
all that pre-Unity stuff was good. Then they went to bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And all that. In 2012, 13, they came back out. And they have just been building.
Yeah, the Divinity series is really popular.
The Divinity. Yeah, Divinity. I've enjoyed Ninjak.
Yeah, Ninjak's
they're also the ones that I believe have had the first plus-size superhero with Faith.
Yeah,
it's
Faith.
been really good. And they've actually kind of diversified now because they've got a book coming out that's set back in the Roman Empire. It's like a detective story in the Roman Empire. And they've also got another book getting ready to come out called Savage that is kind of Commandy-ish in a way. Kind of their version, I guess, of Commandy / Turok.
Okay.
Because they're kind of going back, and since they don't have the rights to Turok, they kind of
Create
our own.
Create your own character.
But the problem is that it's not the problem. They're creating new things. And that's what you got to do. Boom, last year, had an initiative to, push comics forward. And they are creating new stuff.
Right.
Image is creating new stuff. Dark Horse is, they're creating, but it's so I guess going back to the drawback, Marvel's not creating new stuff. It's just spinning tires. And in a way, DC is too, but at least they've kind of hit a new tread.
They've done a revamp they've
revamped, and they're kind of they're spinning the tires, but they're not not in the mud.
Really creating anything new, right?
So if you were presented a Marvel title in front of you, DC, Image, and we'll throw Image with all other independents, all the same price, the way Marvel writes, the way they draw, the way DC and the independents do. Same price, $1 an issue. Which one are you going to start picking up weekly?
More than likely it's going to be an Image book because it's usually better read for me.
Yeah. Over your DC?
Unless
You're
it's
losing
Batman.
detective?
Unless it's Batman or detective.
Does it ever bother you that DC Comics is Detective Comics? Does that ever bother you?
No, it's never been a problem.
I mean, that's redundant. Detective Comics? How about you, Captain Dahlia?
I lay awake at night.
Not about the Detective Comics.
Yes.
No.
It bothers me so much that it's Detective Comics. No,
Just thought it was pretty
actually, I really didn't. I've never really cared. Actually,
I just think it's funny. But which would you pick?
no, great. Okay. I know. Are these new books? Are these
Brand
like
new
Superman books? Or I mean,
We'll say from Marvel and DC, you're getting their normal superhero reads, and Image or the Independents, you're not getting a superhero character. If it's going to be, let's say, sci-fi related.
I actually would probably read The Independent. And what's funny is I'm not outside of that. I mean, most of the books I get each month are independent books.
What
Image, Boom, small press books that only put out one book.
Okay.
Self-published books. I've been going back and picking up some of the self-published stuff. Scout Comics is doing really good. They've got a couple of good stuff coming out. There's a book called Girrion, Girrion, I believe. The guy's art looks like the Dark Crystal art.
Okay.
And it's just beautiful. It's self-published.
Have you read Norman?
I have not had a chance to sit down and read Norman. I have it. It's on the pile.
Okay. See, I had a couple friends give me one, and that kid is crazy.
Did you read the trades before the actual comic came out?
No, I never even heard about it, and they gave it a guy named Chris and Katie. Gave me a copy of it, and they're like, "This is a little too much."
He's a big fan of Norman, yes.
Yeah, and I read it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this kid is disturbed." I mean, little crazy kid killing people.
Yep. They're getting ready to do another series of him too.
And that was a
second series,
pretty interesting book. I mean, overall, I don't think you'll see any of these comic companies go away.
No.
And some of them stuff with Marvel, their average reader's got to be probably 18 to 35 range.
See, they keep
but I'm wondering
saying
if
they want to do for the younger.
Well, I think that's why they're catering a lot of this stuff. You've got the people that have been reading, the 35 to 40-year-olds that have been reading since they've been 8 to 10. And there's some people that, the first books they can remember reading are comic books. And, you kept with that character for decades. And, business-wise, I think, Marvel is trying to cater to a new generation.
Right.
Because...
And that's not bad. That's
no.
I will applaud them for that.
The thing they can't really figure out, though, is that at $3.99 an issue, a lot of kids are not going to be able to afford comics.
Right. I mean, when I was young, you go to the grocery store or your comic store, and it was $1.25 to pick up your issue. Or when Terry was going, it was 12 cents, and that was a new thing because he still remembers the 10-cent ones. And Captain Dahlia was 75 cents once.
Yeah.
So Terry is by far the oldest of the group, but he can remember reading Action Comics 1 when it first came out, and he traded it back to his buddy.
Well, he read it in the newspaper.
Yeah, he read them in the newspaper.
He didn't have comics then.
Yeah. He would sit around the radio, listen to the radio.
I do apologize. We do pick on Terry a lot. It's not meant in any.
Yeah, I remember reading Dick Tracy.
Little Lulu.
Yeah. Prince Valiant, Dagwood. But no, I think since we just jumped on that, comic strips were probably my early introduction into that foray. I remember just as a kid before I could even read, my dad reading the comics to me and the strips.
Well, yeah, and I can agree with that. Right. I mean, I remember reading the Baileys and Garfields in the Saturday paper. I remember looking at the art in Princeton. I think this is pretty. I like this art, but could never get into the story.
And another thing that touches on that as a young kid was Silly Putty.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Silly
Putty. You got your own copy yourself.
You fill that off.
Then you're tired with it, you mix it all up and do it again. But no, it was I wish, I understand that Marvel more specifically, trying to gear to a younger base, but maybe not so much as both feet in the pool, jumping in kind of deal. Stick with your longtime readers.
Right.
And keep their characters. You can do some offshoots, but you don't have to reboot, regurgitate, rechange everyone.
No.
It's no problem passing the torch. I mean, You know, Peter Parker, we understand he's 112 years old. You know, let him go.
Well, and that takes Batman's almost, what, 200?
Yeah, he's got to be.
Theory?
If you continue to tell a good story, people are going to jump on the book that are new. You don't have to keep having number ones for people to jump on. If somebody comes in, they're wanting to find out and about good stuff, and or they heard something, or they speak with the shop owner, they'll start picking up a book at whatever issue it's out. You don't need to keep doing.
On that same note, back in the day, if something big happened, there was no relaunch of number ones. There was no, new artist and writer came on. They just kept going.
Right.
There was no relaunch to, we're going to reboot number one because, well, Joe Blow and Sally Stacey came on and they're going to be the artists and writers, and so we got to restart the book. You didn't do that.
You just kind of picked up. This is the storyline. Continue with it. This character is known for this, so on and so forth.
Now, I think would be kind of interesting is if they decided to go kind of like TV shows.
Okay.
Do 12 issue, do all their books. It's a 12 issue miniseries.
Yeah, like most of the British series are like 13 episodes.
Right.
13 issues.
So you could do,
they're a little
12
bit
issues in an
longer.
annual.
Right.
Have one solid story, and then, hey, guess what? In another year, it's a new number one. Do something like that.
I just wonder, though, with continuity, if that would detract from people coming back. If someone wrote a bad
big time gap can hurt.
miniseries, someone was just like, I'm done with comics. There's no reason for me to pick up issue 13 because I know it's not coming.
Right.
The other thing I would worry about is Marvel, DC, Image, all of them understand key issues. All of them understand, when you shoot out a new number one, prices are naturally going to go up as far as sales. I would think with a mini series, the only deterrent not only, but one of the deterrents also would be it's another new number one. Oh my gosh, I don't need these series. I'm out.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. I'm not saying you just do that with all of them. I don't think Dow is either. But certain
Terry,
characters...
I read between the lines. That's exactly what you're saying.
Certain characters just cannot hold a series continually. Moon Knight has been proven
for sure
over and over again that he's not able to.
Punisher, I think, deserves a miniseries. Deadpool, I think, deserves a miniseries.
Right, instead of a regular full on.
Yeah.
Let's switch over to Dark Horse. What is Dark Horse doing now? They've lost
nothing.
They've lost Star Wars.
But, and you know what? A lot of people are expecting them to fail because
a lot of people did.
they've gotten
because they churned out a lot of Star Wars books.
They turned out because they were the only ones.
Yeah,
you had a ton of miniseries of Star Wars.
They've gotten a lot more licensed stuff. We've got World of Tanks getting ready to come out. I think just came out. That's a huge video game. They did Mass Effect, which is a big fan. You were a big fan of. The games, they're doing the comics on those.
I think that someone did Gears of War. I forget. I don't know if it was Dark
Gears
Horse.
of War. Somebody did Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Titans doing Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Titans. Assassin's
Creed. They did The Witcher. Dark Horse did.
Now, aren't they doing Hellboy again?
They are doing Hellboy still.
Hellboy has always been pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good series for them.
They always
as far as saving the
Predator stuff.
Dragon Age is what they did.
Oh yeah, Dragon Age.
That's huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, and actually they've started putting out more Aliens Predator stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing more licensed stuff, and they're keeping on, but their stuff's quality though. They do have some new books. Bounty is one that's been really good about two sisters who are bounty hunters, and so it's been fun.
IDW. What do you think about their stuff?
Yeah.
They do a lot of Transformers, G.I. Joes.
Transformers, G.I. Joe. They're going to do Mask.
Yeah. Were you a big Mask fan when you were a kid?
I was. And,
I wasn't.
And okay, fine.
Mask was not cool. It was a ripoff.
As we said in the last podcast, Terry, or last episode, several back, Terry, was a big Transformers fan.
Not a big Transformers fan now. Sorry. What about Zenescope?
Zenescope, yeah, they do a lot of Grimm's fairy tales.
To me, Zenescope's always been a one-hit wonder.
I agree.
I hate that.
A lot
they did a 7.
They did do 7. That's
7
good.
was not bad.
They have a few books that are good, but it's mainly, I guess you buy it for the cheesecake art on the cover because the inside art in Zenescope is just nowhere near the cover.
Right.
And that's the same way with a lot of comic books, but with Zenescope, oh boy, it's pretty bad.
It's the TNA.
Yeah, the covers.
On the covers, yeah.
Right.
And the variant covers, etc.
Yeah.
So,
to me,
they're limited to 100 copies that they do with the variant.
They keep churning those out every month.
Well, the newest thing is to do the fan cosplay covers.
Yeah.
Which has been pretty neat.
Well, how's art currently in most of the titles, especially in Marvel and DC.
I like the DC art.
DC art is kind
It's
of
pretty
back. It's good.
It's coming back.
Marvel's
So
art is
Marvel's
hit and miss.
a,
And a lot of the independence art on Image and stuff, it's hit and miss. Some could have really good art, some could have okay art, and some that just have like art you just can't get past.
Well, that's because it's
and that's in the independent. A lot of it is like
because
that.
a lot of individual artists
Right.
and people doing those, so you just
Right? Yeah. So
get a really wide spectrum of art.
do you ever wish they would go back to like, I don't know, the
Studio
Captain
style.
America, like Rob Liefeld version where his chest is 8
No.
times the size of his body?
I can't
And he has no feet.
I can't dog on Rob because Terry will get all upset.
I won't get upset.
He's a huge
Terry, do you like Rob
Liefeld
Liefeld?
fan.
Do you?
I'm not a huge fan, but yeah,
Oh,
I like.
what
I do
about
like.
him?
I do
Terry?
like.
What about him?
Tell the
He
truth.
has problems with his art, but yeah, I do like his art for the most part.
He
Yeah.
has the Levi's 501 poster of Rob that Rob Liefeld was.
No.
Yeah, it's a commercial. He blew it up, and it's like Rob Liefeld here and the X-Force people here. Signed by Rob
Do you
Liefeld
really?
above his
I
bed.
was signed twice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
2
Above
times
his bed.
signed.
Yeah.
Best
Yeah.
wishes. Love you, Terry.
Yeah. Now, I actually.
X's and O's on it.
X's
No.
and O's. Oh,
X's
X's
and
and O's.
No.
Wow. I actually
Whoa.
think he would be be a perfect Superman artist.
Okay.
You know, because he draws a muscle bound.
He's a little over exaggerated with some
Yeah,
stuff.
well, yeah.
Well, it depends on how you like your Superman. Do you like your Superman
With feet.
super muscle? Yeah, with feet. Or do you like him more of a
Average Joe.
sleeker muscle
Well, I mean, yeah.
character? Depends on how you like your
He
Superman.
could be the Hulk version of Superman.
You could do the Hulk.
I don't
do
like.
the
See, I
Hulk
don't.
real well, yeah.
I'm not a fan of the Liefeld stuff.
It's
just
his
too-
early stuff. The
His
Hawk and
early
Dove,
stuff.
His Hawk and Dove for DC was good.
Yeah. See, I wasn't a huge when he was doing a lot of Marvel stuff. I wasn't a huge fan.
No.
I'm just throwing it out there. Sorry, Tickler.
all right.
So if I saw your XOXO poster, I'd take it off your wall. Is it really over your bed?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
Captain Shaken
I
said
do, I
yes.
do not have that poster.
It's on your ceiling. Oh man.
He goes to
Good
bed
night,
every looking at
Rob.
Rob.
Good night. So
So tell us, Dow, I know you like to interact with a lot of the artists online. So is there any particular artist that you just really venomously got into a heated debate about, perhaps?
Yes, there was one or two artists. One artist back in the day of AOL chat rooms.
AOL chat room.
AOL
Whoa.
chat rooms. I know DC
Whoa.
Comics had their own little AOL chat room at the time.
dial-up internet.
Yeah. John Byrne had just taken over Wonder Woman, and he was the guest that night. And I just nonchalantly told him his art sucked on that book.
At least you were polite about it.
Well, it was.
That is
you know.
nonchalant, you know.
No,
Yeah.
well, because going from
saying it's great.
going from Mike Deodato art
Okay.
to John Byrne doing his best Kirby art that was horrible style. It was just it was horrible. And I told him that his new art style sucked, and he goes, "Well, why don't I come to your place of business and insult you?" I was like, "Bring it on." So yeah,
So did he come?
no,
Oh, okay. Was
he
there?
couldn't leave Canada.
Oh,
His visa was expired or something. I don't know.
Did they kick you off AOL for this one?
did they
Yeah.
boot it? So the point of the story was just.
I have no idea what the point of the
The
story
point of
was.
the story was,
It
he was talking about.
Thanks, Tickler. That was an awesome reference. One time Dalian talked to John Byrne. Whoa.
Well,
Okay.
you were talking about me liking
Okay.
Rob, so I just kind of
Okay.
turning it around,
Full circle there.
Just going full circle here. But
Okay.
I think
Don't bash Rob Liefeld because Terry will find out if you ever talk to anybody. He'll bring it up to you. Man, you remember that one time you talked to that guy? Yep. You told him he didn't do good.
so. What are they doing? What's Marvel? Since we're saying Marvel doesn't, most of the art isn't all that good. What can they do to get better? I know you can just say get better artists, but I mean,
Well, I think what
I
they need
think
to do
take
is
their time.
take their time. You know,
You don't have to
Used
pump
to be-
out 18 issues every week. You know,
Yeah.
paperwork.
Go back to kind of a house, kind of like a house style.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they were built on, and that's what everyone. You know, and I'm not saying let the artists not let them do their own thing, but more quality control the art, I guess.
Right. Which I think you get more of if you cut off some of the excess, like we talked about.
Yeah.
Take out some of the extra, series and stuff like that, and bring
Just
him out
because
only.
a character is showing up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., don't rush out a new series. For
Yeah,
him.
he's got
Right.
You don't need that.
like the Star Wars with C-3PO. So, whoa.
Well, we need wait. We need the C-3PO story.
Okay.
You know about the secret about that, don't you?
No.
How did he get his red arm?
Oh, wasn't it in memory or honor of some other fallen?
But if you saw
Droid.
Force Awakens, he had the red arm. You
Yeah.
know how he got that. That's why they did that.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to have
a bit of marketing.
They had to have They had to have a whole miniseries about C-3PO.
It was a one shot. It was a one shot.
Okay, one shot.
One
Okay,
shot, yeah.
I didn't read it. So that you know that he got a red arm.
Obviously,
No, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
So we need the whole one shot just so he got a red
But
arm.
people were asking, how did he get the red arm? What's with the red arm?
So then, when are you going to give? Because I know Captain Dion's off of Marvel. When are you
No,
going to?
no,
I mean, not as
that's
far
a
as off
misconception.
Marvel.
That's a
I know
misconception.
you like Gwenpool.
I do like Gwenpool.
You like the Surfer.
I
You
do
can't
like
wait for
Surfer, yeah.
Slapstick.
I can't wait for Slapstick. And Doctor Strange is
Doctor
good.
Strange. Okay.
Yes.
When are you going to
Definitely
go back on mainstream Marvel?
When they make changes. When they start putting quality over quantity
Okay.
again.
And Tickler, we know you like DC a lot, which DC's good.
Have we mentioned the show?
About
Gotham. Anything going on in Gotham?
anything?
No, I mean, I love my Batman comics. It's
I know
true,
you
but
do.
mainly rather than DC, I mean, I'm more on Image, reading all those different independent books.
So what would the company have to do? What would Marvel and DC have to do for you to jump back on? And I'm Marvel all the way. I'm DC all the way.
Concentrate on the character and the story, and not so many of these events, and just really develop some in-depth stories. I mean, that's what I usually enjoy. I guess maybe that's a little bit different. Maybe nowadays, since we're talking about that, maybe people just don't have time. Maybe that's why the stories aren't so in-depth anymore. We got email, and we got our cell phones, and we have our tablets, and et cetera, et cetera. Maybe they are catering to, and I was thinking about it. Maybe they are catering to a newer generation, because I even find having a hard time getting all my comics read because there's other stuff that is taking my attention away.
Well, and that's like I spent.
So maybe that is. Maybe
But I think
that's the reason they aren't so heavy in
with
dialogue
that,
anymore.
With that's the problem with a bunch of the miniseries and too much offshoots. Because if you don't have time, then let's say, okay, you got, let's say it's April or whatever, and you go into your local comic shop and you pick up Batman, and then, life happens and it's back to June or July before you can go back in, and now, Batman, and let's say you picked up Batman 2055 or something, I don't know, and now that series is gone, it's a new Batman. You have no reason to pick up a new Batman because you're like, I can't even play catch up.
Well, and like you said, with Marvel, they have so many titles, and if you want to read some of these titles, but there's so many, you just don't have time to read them all.
Well, I recently, through Comicology and stuff, went back and got the 2012 Archer and Armstrong series and the Harbinger series. So I picked them up here and there, like you said, go in the shop, pick up one. And I actually told a friend of mine, a mutual friend that we have, to go buy the Archer and Armstrong trade at Hastings. He went and did it because it was great. He loved it. I was like, and then again, I picked them up, and read them here and there. And so I went back, I got them offline and online, got them, and I kind of go. So yeah, you talking about not having a lot of time to read it, and I've got them on my tablet. I just need to sit and read them.
I mean, even if you have them on your tablet and it's portable for you, that's great. That does allow you time to read it.
Quality control, story, art, less events can still transfer over to a tablet.
It can, yes. And then it can, help you with your time, having less comics and more quality in your book.
So that would be the helpful advice.
Yeah.
Take a little more time, make a little better quality read, quality art.
It'd be interesting to see what people say. I bet people have a lot of different opinions on what Marvel and DC is doing bad and can do better.
And that being said, like you just said, and I've said last show, comment on our Facebook page.
Yep. And
Let us know.
What's today's secret? We can't do Tickler related. We can't do
We
it.
can't do that.
We gotta come up with a new keyword that's not Tickler related.
If you listen to the last show, you'll know we are running a contest. So each show we'll do a keyword, and
you put the keyword in.
Yeah, you put Convict Straight Talk on Facebook.
Share it
in the comments. Put the keyword. Let us know.
Free comics. They're going to get some graded stuff,
keys, comic series,
free autographs from
the Knucklehead and
Knucklehead and Captain Dion
and Tickler and myself. If you want it.
I'll sign any book.
Terry will sign it. He'll put it on the cover.
He didn't even write it, didn't do anything. He'll still sign it.
So he'll sign Rob
He'll sign
Liefeld,
whatever name you want to sign to.
Yeah.
He'll put it on whatever.
Yeah, just put the keyword. And let's see.
What Texas knows.
We're going to do today's keyword being Marvel.
Okay, Marvel. That's a good one.
It is a good one. Yes.
Because it's over Marvel Comics.
Oh, it's over
Comic industry.
comics in the industry, yeah.
Okay.
And we did miss something on our last show. Gene Coulon had a birthday on the
Oh,
1st.
Gene Coulon, yeah.
And
He did a few books.
he did a few books. He did,
Some, special ones.
right, he did awesome cover Iron Man 1.
Iron Man 1, that's a sweet
He
cover.
did a long run on Daredevil.
Yeah.
Did a long run on
Big favorite of your book.
Detective.
Well, I wasn't
Detective or Batman? Can't remember. TOD, Tomb of Dracula.
Yeah, Dracula. I thought you were going with
I
that.
think he did the whole run, I
Yeah.
believe.
He did.
So, yeah.
Really, really good horror stories.
Gene, happy birthday to you. And,
One of my favorite series was the vampire 3-issue story he did with in Batman, where Batman became a vampire. It was a good story. So yeah, happy birthday, Gene.
Like us, share it, keyword Marvel. I am Eric the Knucklehead.
Terry the French Tickler French.
Captain Dalian.
We want to thank you again for your time, and we will see you